Hey, hello everybody, welcome back. I appreciate you guys clicking on the video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today I have a build video, once again a build video, because this one actually is for my first solo legendary. So solo legendary is something now that I've been trying lately, and this build is what I complete my first one. So far I've been about 2-3 solo legendaries that I've done, and all have been with this build. Now this build, the reason why I chose this build is because basically it's because of the gear set, right? Because the purpose of it, marking enemies to do extra damage to extra enemies, right? Kind of like that. So with this gear set on legendaries, it helps you clear out the enemies a lot faster on legendaries, because legendaries you need to have some kind of crowd control, and with this build doing damage to at least 3 NPCs, it will help you kind of keep the NPCs a little bit away from you, or kill them at least a little bit faster. Now I do have builds that hit harder than this, but the fact that this you can mark 3 enemies and shoot them kind of like at the same time, that's where the beauty of this build is coming into place. So let me show you guys what the build that I'm talking about and the way I've done it, and let me know what you guys think of the build. So let's take a look at this, right? For this build I'm gonna be using 4 Negotiators Dilemma with 2 different brand set. One is going to be Ferris Group AB, because Ferris Group AB will give you 10% assault rifle damage. We need this because this build is going to be focused on AR, and then the second one will be a Walker Harris and Co. Now in here, for this one you can go maybe with a Grupo Sombra or maybe with just Cheska, depending how your build is looking like and depending what you have in your hand, right? This is what I have in my hand, this is what I'm working with. Now before we go into that, let's take a look at the gear set, because you guys have known about the gear set, but let's take a look real quick. So Negotiator's Dilemma, by equipping 2 pieces you get 15% critical hit chance, by equipping 3 pieces you get 20% critical hit damage, and then by equipping the 4th piece, this is the beauty of the build and the reason we're using this build, right? Of course. So critical hit marks enemy for 20 seconds, up to 3 marks total. That's all we need, right? When critical hit an marked enemy, all other marked enemies take 60% of that damage dealt. Whenever a marked enemy dies, gain plus 2% critical hit damage, stacking up to 20 times or until the combat ends. So that right there, that's gonna be more damage that we can stack up as we kill the enemies, the marked enemies, of course, right? Now we do 60% of damage to another enemy that's marked, up to 3 enemies, right? So 2 of them will be taking 60% of damage. Now we can increase that damage by equipping the backpack talent, but on this case, this build, we're not going to be using the backpack, neither also the chest piece, because with the chest piece you can equip the chest piece of Negotiator's Dilemma, and instead of 3 you'll be able to mark 5 enemies. And honestly, the reason I'm not using the backpack and also the chest piece is because I do have 2 talents in here that will give me more damage overall. So most of the build, throughout the build, attributes are gonna be critical hit chance and critical hit damage, depending how much you need. Get up to close to 60% critical chance, which on this build I have a 57% critical hit chance and a 113 critical hit damage. Now going back to the build, right, let's go and check the talents. So the talents that we have on the backpack will be Vigilance. Vigilance, why? Because Vigilance give you a lot more damage, and we're gonna be using shield most of the time, and by equipping the shield, honestly, when they're shooting you, they're shooting at the shield, so you're not taking damage, so you have Vigilance for a longer time because they're shooting the shield, not you. So that's the beauty of Vigilance with the shield on legendaries. Increase total weapon damage by 25%, taking damage disables by the buff by 4%. But like I said, if you're using the shield and not taking damage behind you, if they are shooting your shield, you're not going to lose that damage as long as they're shooting the shield. The second talent will be on the chest piece. This talent that I chose is Spotter. The reason why I chose Spotter is because it's the best, for me at least, one of the best talents on a chest piece, and it's just worked really well, at least for me. So amplifies total weapon damage and skill damage by 15%, to pulse enemies. Also the skill damage, because we're gonna be using a turret. The turret is not exactly to do damage, even though it does, but we have it mostly to put on places that we need to kind of like either choke the enemy, or maybe to have focus of the enemy on the turret instead of us. Like for example, I like to put the turret when I know those enemies, the ladies that throws the drone, the explosive drones, they usually focus the turret first before you, unless the game bugs out and the drones come towards you. So that's why we use the turret. So with that said, spotter will be amplifying that damage also, right? Now the downside of the spotter is that you have to have your enemy pulsed for it to work. So in that case, that's where the specialization technician comes in place. Now going on the technician specialization, on the tree there is something that you want to unlock in here for that spotter to work, which is this one right here, the linked laser pointer, technician laser pointer that pulses target at which it's aimed at, right? So that's all we need. And also it's going to be a attachment only for long rails on the barrel, so it's not going to fit every gun, but most of the guns it will fit. So going back to the builds, that's what we use to activate our spotter on the chest piece, right? My gun of choice is the actual MK16. I've been in love with this AR lately, but I'm gonna give you three options in here. I use the MK16, it works for me. I use it 90% of the time, every time I go. But also a good option, and probably the favorite of a lot of people, is gonna be the FAMAS. The FAMAS is really strong and it works really well on this build, but the downside of the FAMAS is that you're gonna have to go with something else other than the spotter, because the FAMAS, you cannot put the linked laser pointer on the FAMAS. So that's the downside. You're gonna have to choose something else when it comes to talent on the chest piece if you want to go with the FAMAS. Now if you still want to go with the spotter, I would say go with the Police M4. With the Police M4 you can put the linked laser pointer on it, and also the Police M4 is really good for this build. As a fact, I think I finished one of the legendary with the Police M4 and it just worked really well. Now I'm going for the mods. The way I mod all of these guns is going to be the same. I have a 5% critical chance on the muzzle. I have the linked laser pointer on the barrel, right? That's why we need it. And also I have 20 rounds on the magazine. Now going for the scope, we have something here special, because the way it works. So we have the 8x scope, which gives us a 30% headshot damage. Now we're not getting it for the 30% headshot damage, which is fine, right? But we're getting it because every time you click to aim with a gun that has this scope equipped, it will scope in, right? And that's what we need, because the way we're playing on this build, we're trying to stay behind cover, and once we aim with the scope, you are able to kind of see outside of the cover without actually being outside of the cover. I hope you guys understand what I mean by that. You guys can see it in the gameplay though. So that's why we're using the 8x scope. That's basically what it is for. Now in the secondary, I do recommend something like an SMG or maybe a rifle. Now personally, I go mostly with the SMGs. I go with either with this MP5, or if you want to go with the rifle, of course we have the M1A, right? They all work. Sometimes you will run out of bullets on your AR. You're gonna need another weapon to kind of you know, when you run out of bullets. So that's what we need it for. That's the build right there. I hope you guys understand the build. I'll leave some gameplay so you guys can understand maybe better with the gameplay. Let me know what you guys think of this build. What build are you using? Do you want to see this build more in action on live streams on solo? And what build you want me to use next for solo legendary? So yeah, that's the build, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit me with a like. I would appreciate it. It helps the channel, it helps the video's performance better. And comment below what you want to see more on the future in this channel, and also subscribe if you're new for Division 2 content and more content to come in the future. So I appreciate you guys very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.